Hello.
Okay. Hello, yes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this SACRE meeting. Just to remind everyone, the first part of this meeting this evening will be an ordinary SACRE, which will almost immediately be followed by the meeting of the agreed syllabus conference. Please could I remind everyone that both meetings will be streamed on YouTube and recorded, and that the usual etiquette should be followed, turning microphones off when not speaking, raising a virtual hand to speak wherever possible. So to start the meeting, please could I ask for any nominations for chair for the academic year?
Well, I've nominated myself. Is that what you mean?
That is what I mean. Yes. Is the seconder for Vicky?
Seconded.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for chair for the academic year?
I'd like to nominate Gareth Bernard if he's eligible.
I'm eligible and happy to stand if people want, but that's cool. Having chaired it before.
Okay, is that seconded?
I can second.
Who was that? Sorry, was that Councillor Frost?
Sorry, Councillor Frost. Yes, sorry.
Brilliant. Okay. So in that case, we have a contested chairmanship, which makes things a little bit more complicated, and I will need to open the breakout room. So just to explain this, each group of SACRE gets a vote for who they would like to be chair, whether that's Vicky or Gareth. So I will just create the great breakout rooms now, if I can work out how.
Can I just pause a mo?
Yeah.
I quite like to nominate Ryan Frost. I didn't know he was on. Am I allowed to do that at this stage?
Sorry, I should have asked if there were any more. Yes, you can do that at this stage.
You can. I mean, Ryan seconded me, Trish.
That's okay. Doesn't matter, does it?
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I was more than happy to stand Trish, having chaired it before in what I consider to be a fairly non-partisan way. That was all.
So, also in the spirit of non-partisanship, I hadn't realised that Vicky Gibson had nominated. I thought it was an uncontested election, but I'm happy to accept Trish's nomination if there's a seconder for me as well.
Thank you. Perhaps Nahid.
Yeah, I'll second Ryan.
Oh,
okay.
And sorry.
Yeah. May I just suggest that as we have a contested election, that we ask each of the people to say a few words about why, what they can bring to SACRE, so that people know who they are voting for and why they're voting, if you see what I mean.
That's a good idea. Well, I set up the breakout rooms. So, Vicky, would you like to go first?
Yes, good evening, everybody. I put myself forward because I think we're at a very important point in SACRE at the moment, with our responsibility to encourage the development and support the setting up of a new agreed syllabus. Those you probably don't know, but I've been probably head of RE of about 6 different secondary schools in my teaching career. And I ended my teaching career as director of social, moral, spiritual development, and was a lay chaplain. I've taken assemblies all my life. I understand schools and the responsibilities they have to develop an RE curriculum, and also the challenges that exist in providing collective worship. So I do get the whole sort of working environment, the chalk face, so to speak. I've also chaired many meetings in my life, and I understand that your time is precious, and I would seek not to waste that, and also the importance of Anne as our expert. So that's just me in a nutshell, really. I'm now retired. I'm writing children's books to support faith and religious literacy. And I'm a church member, and I'm part of Group A, and have been in this group for about 3 years or maybe more. I can't remember. But thank you.
Thank you. Gareth, would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you very much. So I was SACRE in the previous few years, and again, like Vicky, believe that we're at an absolutely pivotal moment here as we look at putting together a new agreed syllabus. I think what I've noticed over the last probably 4 to 5 years is how our remit has broadened. And as has been said already, it's not just about connecting with schools, but it's about understanding the multi-faith approach that we have as a SACRE, linking in with that broader worldviews connectivity as well, and understanding how as SACRE we can steer that through. One of the big issues that we've had historically is generating, I think, the enthusiasm and the energy within SACRE, and that I think been successfully achieved to help us in what we need to do in the weeks and months ahead. I have the opportunity and time to do that now. As the former executive member for children and young people on the council, visited a number of schools, understood the challenges at both primary and secondary in terms of delivering the RE curriculum, have worked with teachers in the past and are passionate about what SACRE can do, what can contribute, and I would like the opportunity to do it again. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Councillor Frost.
Hi, I'm Councillor Frost, Councillor for Priestwood and Garth, and one of the new intake of councillors and executive support member for children and young people on the new administration. So like Vicky and Councillor Barnard have said, we are a pivotal moment, and in my day-to-day job I work in national education policy, so very aware of our statutory responsibilities as a group at a time when we are reviewing the agreed syllabus for religious education. And so I think, yeah, it would be a good opportunity to chair and welcome everyone's views as we feed into that process. So I think I would bring an awareness of our statutory responsibilities and look forward to working with everyone.
Okay, thank you all. Just before I do that, are there any other nominations? Just to pick up anyone else? No, that's fine. Okay, in that case, I will open the breakout rooms now. You should, hopefully, fingers crossed, all go into your automatic groups. If I've put anyone in the wrong group, just send me a message and I can redistribute you. I suggest we adjourn for 5 minutes while that happens, while each group decides on who it would like to support. If that's... Anne, do you think that's okay? Time-wise? Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Then we'll reconvene.
They're not big groups, so it should be fine.
Yep. Then we'll reconvene in 5 minutes. Anne and Tracy, you're not in a breakout room, so just hang around.
Oh, and now Anna arrives. Do you want to send her straight to group C?
Is it worth just making sure Anna understands why
Yeah.
we're moving into groups?
Yeah, when she's connected to audio. I can see she's still connecting. See, that's the importance of being on time. But it's hard when you're a head teacher. Very hard. So I'm not judging her. I'm really not. It is very hard. I just wonder, should we probably have not put the candidates in rooms?
I was wondering whether we should have exited them from the actual meeting, or I don't know how else we could have done it.
I think
we could put them in a
hold on.
breakout room separately.
We are still streaming, just so you know. I think they should be, because it's for them to decide between them, which they're still in a group, they still have a vote as part of their group, do you think? Oh, sorry, Anna, can you hear us now?
Hear me?
Hello. Yeah, just to explain, we've had a contested election, so everyone's gone into their breakout rooms. I'm just going to put you in your breakout room, if that's okay with the other teacher representatives.
Yeah, there are three candidates: Vicky, Gareth, and Ryan.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, I have to be honest, I haven't been in a SACRE with a contested election for chair before. because normally nobody wants to stand. So maybe this is a good sign. That's a good idea, Lizzie.
Well, thank you. I've been here before.
Yeah, I know you have. You're an expert. Wonder how many views we get.
I can tell you, although I imagine not a great deal.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
It'll be interesting though. I mean, I think, I know it's different and it's unusual for us to have 3 candidates put themselves forward for chair, but I think that's also really, really positive that people are really keen to sort of take that mantle on. Really, I'm really impressed.
Yeah, me too. Very pleased.
Lizzie, what sort of time are we talking this will finish tonight? I'm currently in Times Square, so very conscious that I will be sleeping in Times Square if I'm not careful.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It shouldn't take longer than normal. We should be done by 7.
That's
or,
okay.
Or very shortly after.
That's perfectly fine then. Colleagues have just informed facilities for me that I'm here.
Yeah. Well, it gives us a good excuse to keep to time, because I think we keep the first half of the meeting short to the point. And the ASC again is going to be, it's going to be a discussion around what we do next and what the feedback is to take to the hub. I haven't at the moment scheduled another hub meeting because I haven't got any diary space.
Okay, I'm just going to reopen the bring everyone back in. Hopefully that was long enough for everyone. We haven't got Group B or Group C back yet, so hopefully they'll join us soon. Oh, and now it looks like we do. Is everyone back with us?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, spokesperson for Group A?
Yes, we agreed that a good compromise would be to nominate Gareth as chairperson, Vicky as vice chairman, and if there was to be a chairman of the agreed syllabus committee, that Vicky should be chairman of that.
Okay, so your vote is for Councillor Barnard for chair.
Yeah.
Okay, Group B?
Sorry, was there 2 groups or 3 groups?
Sorry, no.
There were 4 groups.
groups.
So Group B should be Dalapu and Jill.
Yes, we'd like to nominate Vicky, please. We both agreed with that.
Okay. Group C?
Hi, I'm speaking on behalf of Group C, and we would like to vote for Vicky Gibson.
Thank you. And Group D?
To be honest, we had 2 candidates in the group, and there was no settled decision. So I don't know what to answer.
Can I help and say if Vicky wants to be chair, I'm happy to put myself forward to be vice chair to support her, if that would help.
Yeah.
I think if there's no consensus in Group D, then we have 2 votes for Vicky. So
Yeah,
Vicky
absolutely.
is.
I think the discussion could have continued, and Councillor Ijaz was making the point about sort of multi-faith discussion. But I mean, I'm more than happy with Vicky chairing it. If
Can
you know
I
that.
can I air my views now? Sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my point was the both of them come. I'm assuming here. Sorry, I don't know much about Vicky. That they come from one particular religious background. And it should be multi-faith, and there should be more faiths reflected with the chair and the vice chair. And I do understand there's a lot of work that goes into SACRE. So I came totally, at the last minute, and next thing I know, there's voting taking place and people being nominated. I didn't even catch the introduction because I was having technical difficulties getting into the meeting. Can we postpone this nomination of the chair and do it another time and put a little bit more thought into it?
No, that's not possible. We have a chairman, Councillor Ijaz.
Yeah, I think we do need to elect a chairman for the academic year. That was a quorate vote of SACRE, one from each group. So I think we need to go ahead with that.
Yeah, agreed.
So Vicky, you are the chair, the lucky chair now. That takes us to item 2 on the agenda, which is the appointment of vice chair. Councillor Barnard, you already put yourself forward.
Yeah, I'm happy to put myself forward to be vice chair. If that would receive the support of colleagues to work with Vicky.
Okay, is that seconded?
Yes, I'll second it. Yeah.
Are there any other nominations?
I would like to nominate myself for vice chair, please.
Okay. Is that seconded?
Sorry, I couldn't see who that was.
That was Claire Hawkins.
Okay.
Is that seconded?
I'd be happy to second it. Alan Montgomery speaking.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
May I nominate Ryan Frost on this one?
Okay. Looks like we're going back into breakout rooms, right?
Look, if there are other colleagues that want to do this, I'm happy to second Claire for this role. More than happy. I mean, to move things on, because I think it would.
And I'm happy to kindly decline Councillor Brown's kind nomination.
Yeah. So this seems to be getting just a tad political. So, but I'm more than happy to back Claire, the vice chair, to work with Vicky on this.
Okay.
Can I just say it's not entirely a political, of course it's slightly, but we've got a young person here who has national connections on policy and so on, so that might be a beneficial thing to have in the group, but anyway, he's declined.
So I'm happy to support second Claire and withdraw.
Okay, Councillor Frosty, you also withdrawing, did you say?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so that makes Claire, you are the vice chair for the academic year. So I'll hand over to you, Vicky, if that's okay.
Thank you. Yes. Well, thank you for your confidence in me. I must say I was surprised. Commiserations to Gareth and Ryan. Thank you also, Claire, for being willing to support me and this group. I'm aware that we need to do a welcome, so welcome everybody. And do we have any new members? Nahid, are you new to the group?
Sorry, beg your pardon. Could you repeat that question?
Yes, I was asking if you're new to the group.
I think I am. Yes, I'm newly elected.
Yeah.
So is Ryan.
Yes.
So we are newly elected councillors.
So we welcome you to the group. And
Thank you.
I haven't missed anybody else.
I'm new to SACRE.
Who was that speaking? Sorry.
Tricia Brown, Councillor Tricia Brown. Yeah.
Welcome to you, Tricia, as well. Have I missed anybody else?
I'll just do a membership update in a second, or is that?
Chris, I'm just going to have to kill my video because the signal seems to be a bit intermittent. So I'm just going to kill my video. Okay, thanks.
You're still with us, though, Gareth. We can still hear you.
Yeah, but I say it's the video that's playing up. Sorry.
No problem. And are there any apologies for absence?
Yes, I've had apologies from Joe Ryklowski. I think that's all, unless anyone has any others.
So the next point on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Now, I wasn't present, but I've read them. Are we happy for those who were present to approve those minutes?
I've just got one comment. This is Rajdeep Danju. I think just going forward, I think if we could reflect put comments back from everybody, because I think sometimes it looks as there's just a couple of people who can do into the meetings, which wouldn't reflect what's said in the videos. So I think there are a lot of omissions in the last minutes in particular. It's been quite some time, so I haven't gone back. I didn't make notes, but it's probably, I just want to make that point. But if minutes could be reflect what's said, and kind of contributions from everybody could be noted. Otherwise, it comes across to just a contribution from just a couple of people on the meeting that everybody else is kind of not really participating.
Thank you.
Can I just say Anne's put a note in that we need to elect the chair and vice chair for the syllabus.
Yeah, in the agreed syllabus conference. But what I mean is, so people who are not chairing this bit could still get to chair something else. That was all I meant, Kathy.
All right, okay.
So just a reminder that we are 2 meetings at the moment. So potentially we could have 2 different chairs and 2 different vice chairs.
And how long do you need? Because it would be good to finish at 6:30 as we normally do. How long do you need for your?
It's 7 o'clock we're scheduled to finish. It's 5 till 7. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, that's good to be reminded of that. So thank you, Raj, for your comments. Does anybody else want to make any comments about the minutes of the previous meeting? Okay, are we happy for those that were present to approve them? Could you indicate, please, by thumbs up or your little yellow hand on the thing? Okay. Lizzie, have we got sufficient people to approve the minutes?
Yep, if it's general consensus, then yep, we do.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. We don't do abstentions, do we? It's a different type of meeting. Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. So are there any matters arising from the previous minutes?
I think all the matters arising are addressed anyway on the current agenda.
Thank you, Anne. Membership update. I think we've got some new people, haven't we? So
yep.
over to you, Lizzie. Are you in that?
Yep, that is me. Yes.
Thank you.
So just to let SACRE know, since the last meeting, we've had 3 resignations, which is Carol Dunk, Church of England, Robin Lynch, who was Catholic representative, and Madeline Diver, who was a teacher representative. All 3 have handed in their resignations in between meetings. I know that a lot of people on SACRE would like to thank them for their support for SACRE, particularly Madeline, who stood on SACRE for a number of years. So just to reflect that, just to let you know. And also just to let you know that since the last meeting, Ibrahim Wilele, who was the Islamic representative, has been removed from SACRE's membership for non-attendance. So that leaves a vacancy for the Islamic post as well. And just to let you know, in between meetings, Councillor Barnard was reappointed by the council to sit as a local authority representative, in addition to those who were already mentioned, who had been members of SACRE at previous meetings. I think that is all.
Thank you. So are people thanked? I mean, formally, do we write to them?
Generally, no. But
okay.
It's a rarity that someone sits for so long. So if you'd like to, I'm happy to.
I think we should write to Madeline, particularly because she has been vice chair and has been here for as long as I've been here, and probably beyond that. Is that something I should do, or would you do that, Lizzie?
We can work together on something.
Thank you.
I'll contact you.
I think that would be really good, because Madeline has been absolutely passionate about SACRE over the years, and has been, a very loyal and supportive member, and has come up with a lot of ideas. And in fact, during lockdown, actually did try to help move things on in terms of a plan and things. So yeah, please can we reflect that in a letter to her and say thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Gareth. That's very helpful. Anything else in the membership update? I mean, who looks for the replacements? Is that something that this is where this is why I don't know what I'm doing.
Sorry, and yet.
Okay. So,
and do you know?
Yeah, I am already on the case for Church of to replace Carol Dunk on the Church of England group. I have written to the area deans. I have also written to all of the Church of England schools because there are often teachers or sort of teaching assistants who are also members of a local church who could be nominated. I am waiting to hear back from people. There's a surprise, but those emails have been sent, and I will chase them up. I have had some communication from a teacher who teaches outside the borough but lives in the borough, who might be a possible for one of the 2 Group C vacancies. The Muslim and the other vacancies, really it's for the local authority, probably in the form of the clerk, to contact the local groups to see if they wish to nominate anybody.
Thank you. That's really helpful.
Just to let everyone know, I kept on putting my hand up, but nobody noticed, so I had to come in. That I myself am a Muslim, and if there is any assistance I can give, I'll be more than happy to assist.
Thank you. That's really helpful. I mean, do you know people in your community that might be willing to stand? Because you're in a different group, aren't you?
Yes, I will ask around, and I will also check with Brother Ibrahim as to his lack of attendance. I do know that there was a serious issue with him opening his emails and attending to email and communication. Maybe that's why it has led to him not even knowing there were SACRE meetings taking place. But I will have a word with him and get back to you on that.
Thank you. That would be very helpful. So we're now moving on to feedback from schools. Update on any RE work or any faith visitors to schools. Have any of you been into schools recently?
Ryan has to any school, not in, I believe not as a SACRE representative, but because of his portfolio alongside Roy Bailey, he has visited many schools. Maybe he can just give us a brief account of what he's been doing.
I would say not in the context of the teaching of religious education. I would only be able to speak with any authority about kind of my governorship at Garth Hill College, a secondary school. But I don't know if I'd be able to speak with any authority about school visits in the context of the teaching of faith and religious education.
No, I think it's supposed to be with regard to RE work or faith visitors. So you're saying you probably couldn't speak to that at the moment. Is that right,
That's
Ryan?
correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dilip, did you say that you'd been into schools? Did I?
No. I was responding with a negative. I'm sorry.
Okay, right.
But just in terms of being into schools, I've in the last month given 2 all school assemblies. No, that's not true. Half school assemblies, 350 and 300, I think, in the 2 schools about humanism and the golden rule. But they're not in Bracknell Forest. So I don't know whether that counts, but it does count to my ability to contribute. Let's put it that way.
Well, thank you. I mean, it demonstrates that you could offer yourself to local schools. Would you?
Yes, in the past, I have talked to at least one of your schools. I'm a trained humanist speaker,
right,
and so can talk at any school. If any of you have a school that wants a humanist, I'm for hire, free. Thank you.
So Ron has got a problem with his audio today, but he's texted us all to say, I've not visited any schools yet, but have been accredited as a visitor, complete with kite mark for the Southeast region. So we have 2 potential visitors there, which is great. Nothing else on updates. Claire, did you want to say?
As always, anyone's welcome to come and see me. I am the only local authority secondary, but you are always welcome to pop in and see what we're doing, and particularly at Key Stage 3. We're in quite a nice rhythm with Key Stage 3. But yeah, you are always welcome. And Alan, I'll be emailing you to book you in.
Thank you.
That's good to hear. Anne?
I'm sorry.
Would any of the primaries like to give an update, or the secondary schools give an update on the state of RE in their schools, or collective worship for that matter?
I'm happy to start.
Who said that? Sorry, I missed you.
Tim.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah.
Hi, good evening, everybody. If you don't know me, I'm Tim Griffith. I'm head teacher of Ranelagh School. It's very nice to see you. So yeah, we've in terms of RE and collective worship, we plug away, and a bit like Claire just said, we've got lots of going on in Key Stage 3, 4 and 5 in our religious education. So that carries on as normal. We've got Year 7 Buddhist temple visits coming up. We've got our Year 9 RE ambassadors working in a variety of primary schools as well. Numerous visits from local Church of England clergy, area deans, the Archdeacon have all been in to speak to our students and work with us, lead Holy Communion services, which has been great. We've also had a lovely visit to our Year 9 and 13s from Voices of the Holocaust. They gave a verbatim performance of Susan Pollock's survivor testimony, and that was really powerful. So that's excellent. In terms of collective worship, our SIAMS report a few years ago encouraged us to develop the ways of worship and collective worship at our school, and we've worked really hard to do that. So we've got a variety of different styles of worship going on our school, lots of teacher and student input as well, and that continues to develop with the support of the diocese. Reverend Charlie Kerr has been working with us, and I've forgotten the lady's name now, but there's a new lady that will be working with us as well. We're focusing on our SIAMS self-evaluation framework. Is it a framework? Is it a schedule? I can't remember one. It's whichever way around it is now.
Framework this time.
Framework, bless you. Yeah, sorry. I knew I'd get it wrong. Sorry, Anne. So what that's prompted us to do is to look at our theologically rooted Christian vision. So that's a great piece of work. I've only been working at the school for 3 years, so it's an opportunity for me to go back to basics, discover who we are as a school, and then link who we are as a school in quite nicely with a piece of theology. So that's great. Yeah, other than that, the only other piece of work to say about is our chaplaincy team leader. So Adrian Laws works with our school. It's a joint project with the diocese, Warfield Church, the Bracknell Trust, Kerrith, a number of other local churches, and our school, Ranelagh and Sandhurst School. And Adrian Laws is the chaplain. He's really growing a team there. And I know he would be very happy to come to this meeting and give you guys an update about that if it was ever appropriate, but also to work with any of you in schools or organisations as well, in terms of what he's doing as part of his chaplaincy work. So there's a few notes I made earlier. I'm happy to take any questions at all, or we'll hand over to Ruth, who's got her hand up, or Claire, I suppose.
But just before we hand over to Ruth,
yeah.
I think that would be great to have a visit from your chaplain.
Yeah.
So if you could pass the details on to Lizzie, maybe we can extend an invitation. I'd love to hear about chaplaincy work. Thank you.
No worries.
So Kathy, you wanted to?
Yeah, I'm sorry to be ignorant, but what does SIAM stand for? What is it?
I'm so sorry. Do you know, just as I was saying it, I was thinking people on here are just going to be staring at me blankly. It's the Statutory Inspection of Anglican and Methodist Schools. So we get inspected as an academy by Ofsted as normal, but because of our distinctly Christian nature and our church foundation, we are also inspected on collective worship, spirituality, our theologically rooted Christian vision as well. So that's on a 5-year cycle. We're a couple of years away from that, but the only reason I mentioned it really was because it's the framework has changed recently, which is making all Church of England schools and Methodist schools presumably have a bit of a think about who they are. So it's an interesting time for us all.
Thank you. Ruth, your hand was up.
Yeah, so I'm Ruth. I'm head at Crowthorne C.A.V. Primary School. We actually work closely with Tim and the other church schools in Bracknell. We have a network meeting quite regularly. And at our last meeting, we were talking about the syllabus review and the curriculum. And I believe we've invited Anne to our next meeting. I hope that's not a shock to her. Good, okay. So Anne's going to come and talk to us about the curriculum and support us in that. Through that, we've also had Charlie Kerr coming in to train our staff on a program called Space Makers, which really helps the children to think about spirituality and slowing down, taking notice of the things around them. So we're in the process of rolling that out to the children. And then linked alongside that, we had a request from Kerrith, the Kerrith Community Church, to ask if they could come in and do a prayer spaces day, setting up some prayer spaces around the hall. And delivering some activities for the children, obviously making sure that it's fully inclusive. So we're working with them to develop that, and they're coming in later in November. At the last network meeting for RE leads, I felt, and Anne will probably agree, there was a lot of talk about syllabus and versus scheme, and really sort of clarifying teachers' understanding of the difference between the syllabus review and the schemes that they have in school. And I think that's something that probably needs a bit more work, but it was really interesting to hear people sort of understanding and their questions around that. So that was good. We also, as church schools, have got together and we're going to do some SIAMS training together. We've asked the diocese if they would come and put some training on for us so that we can support each other through that. And then just specifically at Crowthorne, we had an afternoon yesterday where we split every child in the school into different groups, and we talked about our subjects that we're responsible for. So I'm responsible for RE, and had some really positive discussions with the children about their views of RE, why it's important that they learn RE at primary school, how it will actually help them in later life, what they enjoy about RE. And then I was quite brave and asked them, what could we do to make it better? And they actually said that they would love it if we could have focus days where we focused on one faith at a time, and they learnt an overview of that faith and what people believed and how they lived their faith in their daily life. So that's something that we're going to follow up. So it could be that I will be asking some of you to come in and support with that. So that's what we're up to.
That's really exciting. Isn't it lovely to hear these stories from our schools about what's going on? Anna, welcome. You're on mute, my love. We still can't hear you.
No, I'm off mute now. As some people would say, maybe it's better for me to stay on mute sometimes. And it's good to go third, because that means that Tim and Ruth have actually mentioned a huge amount of the things that I would mention, because obviously we do work closely as a network of Church of England schools in Bracknell Forest and offer each other support and resources. And we're always very grateful for the opportunity to meet at Ranelagh with members of Tim's chaplaincy team, as he mentioned. I would say in terms of curriculum, we're at the moment very much focused on regenerating our curriculum as a whole and looking at how all of our subject areas mesh together in a real life context for the children. And that includes our engagement with RE, but I'm obviously aware of the development of the new syllabus or review of the syllabus, and then looking at that alongside the schemes that we follow in school. That is an area that we have got tagged for future focus. In terms of our curriculum provision in RE, we are looking very closely alongside all of our other subjects at how that is manifesting in books, what the work that is produced, and therefore then the understanding that the children have as a result of that. In terms of collective worship, we're in a very comfortable place at the moment. We will unified onto one site at the beginning of last year, and so we had a really big push around our vision and our values as a school, because we felt it was really important to revisit those to make sure that as a community we had an understanding of how we work best together as an inclusive community, an invitational community that engages with all members, with all religions, all cultures and creeds, and to make sure that everybody feels engaged and involved, particularly through collective worship. So we're increasingly now getting opportunities for the children to lead worship, particularly at very key points. So far, they've been very much revolved around Christian church things like Harvest, and then more recently we've got the Remembrance Service, which is obviously a nationwide and worldwide observance. So getting them to understand what that means spiritually for different people from different places. So we worked on that. I'm also working closely with our advisor from Oxford Diocese, Marion Standing, who is actually coming in next week to run some stakeholder surveys around what our vision and values means to all of our stakeholders, but with a particular focus on our parents and their understanding of what that means and why and if that is important to them. So yeah, we're also engaged in the SIAMS training alongside Crowthorne and a couple of other schools in Bracknell Forest next week, which we're very much looking forward to.
So could you just remind us, Anna, which school you represent?
Sorry, Warfield CRV Primary School.
And you're the head?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That's a really interesting summary of what you're up to. Nahid, you've had your hand up for ages. I'm sorry. Would you like?
Yes, I had one question. How do you get this guide mark accreditation of visitor?
I will talk about that under the national updates.
Thank you. Anything else, Nahid?
Not at this moment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Claire, then somebody else had their hand up. I've just missed it. They've jumped off. Dilip. So Claire, followed by Dilip. Thank you.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, I'm head of RE at Garth, so right in the centre of town. So we are in an interesting place with RE, and poor Anne got it in the ear last week. We're trying, and those of you who have been on SACRE for a little while have seen my plans and my printouts and my colourful sheets and things, and my, there's a curriculum there. But our stumbling block is timetable. We've not been timetabled Key Stage 4, Key Stage 5, and we've been met with a little bit of resistance. So that is something that we are working on, and I apologise in advance, Vicky, but we will be coming to you for support with that. So Key Stage 3, we had Zoe Livingston from the local authority pop in last year to do a review of PSHE and RSHE, so relationship sex education and personal social and health education. And in the review, it was very clear that everything was getting muddled. Citizenship, PSHE and RE were just merging into one. And so now we have it distinct for the first time ever on children's timetables. They have 2 periods of PSHE and they have a period of RE, which is a massive move. And this is what we mean. In some ways, we're getting there. And so we now have a distinct period of fortnight where children know they're doing RE. That's their RE teacher. They have bright orange books for it. And so that's been a really positive move. And it's meant that when we've done pupil voice in the last week, a lot of the pupil voice has been actually specific. It's actually been about their RE classes, their RE teachers. So our challenge rating out of 5 has been 3, which I think is very good. Our enjoyment rating is 2.8 when 5 is brilliant. So, we'll take that. But it's been a really good opportunity to meet with students and to talk about, well, how is it? And I really want to relay, and I'm looking forward to the next network meeting, of how brilliant the primary schools have been. Because a big piece of feedback was, a little old soul in year 7 told me that we're chipping away at the iceberg and we've got enough ice to fill his drink, but not quite enough to delve deep into the subject. So he would like more depth, which is wonderful. You couldn't ask for better feedback as a head of RE. They want more depth. And so that's brilliant. And this is a syllabus that was made for kind of bridging the gap around COVID, and it's shown that we have caught up and we have got there. And a big piece of that is a big thank you to the primary schools and the effort and the work that's gone in there. I'm working with Warfield Church to come in and do a series of talks. We had the wonderful Adam a couple of years ago came in and was brilliant with year 7. I've taken note of Ron and Alan, and will try and do my best. I've put in a couple of requests for trips for year 7, 8 and 9, and we're looking into our Key Stage 5 provision, so they have to do 15 hours a year, and we're looking at how we can do that through enrichment periods as well, because it is enriching, and that's the perfect time to use it. I'm also very, very, very fortunate to the RE world. Culham St Gabriel's are funding an RE leadership course for me as part of my return from maternity leave. So I have been given a coach and I'm on a leadership team. But part of this has been a membership of the Association of RE Inspectors, Advisors and Consultants. And so I'm going to a talk on Monday about collective worship. So I'm very much looking forward to that. So I can make very, very detailed notes and then throw them at SLT. So apologies to Tim as SLT.
And throw them to me and my SLT as well.
Yeah, perfect.
Fascinating. Yeah, thank you.
And so I'm really, really looking forward to that. And it's things that I wouldn't normally have opportunities to be as a lowly RE teacher. It's very, very lovely to, and I'm making the most of these opportunities and happy to share them as widely as possible. So yeah, thank you.
Well, all the best with that, Claire. And if there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. Sounds like you've hit the ground running after coming back from maternity leave. So well done you. So Dilip and then Trisha. Anybody else want to speak after Trisha? Okay, Dilip.
Sorry, quick one. I know we moved on a little bit, but I didn't catch it at the time there. So the initiative that you mentioned, Ruth, I think that's really good. We're able to spend more time, shall we just say, rather than the one lesson or whatever it is that we do. And I think I'd appreciate that kind of initiative. So I'm here putting my hand up to say I can help if you want. Certainly Hinduism is my thing. Happy to help out with that. Happy to kind of just go through it in some detail as well and work on plans with you. So yeah, I absolutely love the opportunity. I mean, I'll give you an example. Yesterday at the Interfaith Forum, somebody ran an exercise and where they were surprised that not all the Indians, if you like, were blue. It's like, it doesn't work like that. So it'd be good to try and put some of these perceptions to bed.
Thank you. Thanks.
And sorry, Claire, I do appreciate the effort you're putting in as well to just extend that. I think it's need more of that. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dilip. Trisha?
Hello, yes. I I was actually wanting to ask a question or a couple of questions instead of talking, because I don't know much about things. Can you tell me, please, whether people of different faiths, leaders of different faiths, are invited in to talk during RE sessions? And is there a collective worship where there's a joint presentation from, and clearly Christianity is the big thing, but we should be combining, you know, faiths if possible, I think, and inclusive worship is really important.
Who would like to answer that question?
Yeah, I don't mind. I know we've actually used parents. So we've got a parent from the Jewish faith who came in and led some worship, and they also come and talk in lessons. So if we have children of different faiths, and actually we reach out to their parents first, but it would be good to actually spread the net wider and have more people in. So that's what, with these focus days that the children want, that's what we plan to do.
We do exactly the same as Ruth. So we have visitors in RE and would welcome anybody on this call to come and do the same. And also we've had parents come in and lead worship from different faiths, although we don't have many of those at our school because of the nature of our school.
That's good. I mean, I think this is what the big plus of being on SACRE really is, that you do, it's an opportunity for you to touch base with people from different faith traditions and different worldviews. And it's great that you're making connections here and offering yourselves as potential speakers. I know from past experience how difficult that is, especially to get good speakers who can engage the children. So anybody that's got the kite mark or has actually gone through some sort of training is absolutely, you know, will be gold dust, I guess, in collective worship and RE lessons. So thank you. Is that point now concluded? Yeah. Anne, were you waving at me or just you were?
Just saying, yep, I think everybody from schools has had a chance to contribute.
Thank you. That was actually, I found that really exciting, inspiring. It's so nice to hear a sort of really some really good things going on in schools. It feels like there's a real vibe in the schools that are represented here, so that's great. Right, moving on then. Feedback from training attended, reporting all. Who might be able to speak to that one? Has anybody attended SACRE training?
Has anybody been on any of the SACRE training yet? No, well, that's
yes. I'm just going to say myself, and I thought another colleague had been on as well from Bracknell Forest, but we attended. It was not that I'm new to SACRE, because I've obviously, as your LA officer, been here for I think 4 years now, but I just thought it'd be a really good idea to attend it to see what was going on, and I thought we had, as I say, somebody else attend that training. It might be worth us checking Lizzie against who did attend. But it was just really good to hear about those other networks and those opportunities that are happening, particularly for me personally, how other LA officers are supporting and what they have in place within their SACRE setup. So I just found it really useful to try and make some links with other colleagues that I work with, but also to understand some of those finer points that I haven't had those opportunities to learn about. And I think Anne has already seen at the impact that training has had in terms of the conversations that we've had.
And you'd recommend it, would you? Was it online, Tracy, or did you go somewhere?
It was online. It's part of our online package that everybody here has full access to. So if you there is a program, and I think we sent that out a little while ago. But I think maybe, Lizzie, is that something we might be able to do again? Is to send out the training list again to colleagues. And there's an opportunity not only to obviously attend virtually to those training sessions, but for our colleagues that aren't able to attend and recognise, sometimes times don't work for everybody. We also have a password that enables us to actually access those webinars and revisit them if we wish to.
Thank you. Gareth?
Just to say very briefly, sorry I keep ducking in and out. The internet signal here is dreadful, but I'm getting the gist of everything. So apologies if I keep coming in going. I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't mean to put your hand up then.
I did mean to put my hand up to say that I might keep ducking in and out.
Oh,
Sorry, Vicky.
Right, no problem. So that's it for training. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, Tracy, for feeding back on that. And we're moving on to number 9 now, which is the annual report, which we've had a copy of.
Yeah. So the annual report is in your packs. I haven't had any feedback from anybody on it. Tracy and I have had a brief conversation. I went through the other day and ironed out a couple of typos. So I think I have received in the last 48 hours from Tracy the data and the budget update that will go in. But I'm afraid I received them at a point when I was not able to insert them into the annual report. So what I will do, if that's okay with SACRE, is I will add those 2 items and recirculate the report for everybody to agree by email. There is, however, one slight issue. We are missing a chairman's introduction. Now, the reason we were missing a chairman's introduction was because obviously Gareth was chair for the beginning of the academic year, then Madeleine was chair, and then Madeleine resigned. So what would SACRE like to happen? Would SACRE like the current chair to write a very brief introduction to the SACRE report, or would they like the advisor to put a kind of holding statement in, as in
Can I just make a suggestion? Vicky, if you want to put a few words in and send them to me, I'm more than happy to update with Anne's help on anything that happened at the start of the year. Because I think it'd be quite good to have a sort of a full report of the whole year. But more than happy to work with you, Vicky, on that if you want offline, just to put together an introduction for the year. Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. SACRE happy with that? Brill.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get that updated as soon as I can, hopefully sometime tomorrow.
When do you want it done by, Anne?
We need to send it out by the end of December. So beginning of December would be great. If we could say something like I'm going to pick a number, something like Monday, the 4th of December, then I've got time to put that in, do the final edit and get that out, paginate it properly and make sure it all fits.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there anything else you wanted to say on that, Anne?
I don't think so, unless anybody has any questions or comments, but this is the, but it has been circulated. So, comments are welcomed.
Written, presumably. If you
written is easier if it's a correction, because then I've actually got a written record of what the correction is, with a reference to page number. So yeah, that would be fine. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your work on that. So moving on then to sorry, nobody's got their hand up, have they? Moving on to number 10, which is the RE network update, which I think might be you and Tracy again, the double act.
Yeah, we had a good attendance at the RE network, and Ruth has already raised the issue as to one of the things that we talked about, is that we looked at the current.
Can I just pause you 1 minute, Anne? Somebody's got their mic on. If it would be possible to turn them off while Anne's speaking, and then Nahid, I've seen your hand is up. I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, Anne, carry on, please.
Yeah, thank you. We talked about the current syllabus review proposals. We had a really good discussion with the teachers about that. And people worked in breakout groups and thought a lot about what might be needed. And I am putting together some notes, but which most of which will be more relevant for the agreed syllabus conference rather than this meeting, in fact. But I think it was a good meeting, and as Ruth said, we did begin to establish the difference between syllabus and scheme. because when we did a survey of teachers at the start of this syllabus review process before lockdown, people were giving us comments on their schemes of work rather than on the syllabus, which meant that we had some very confused sort of responses. When this current or when the proposal was sent out, people were asking about why units had been moved around. And I had to point out that our current syllabus has no units. So things were only moved around if from their current scheme rather than the syllabus. So hopefully we've established some of those differences. So I don't know if Tracy wants to add anything about the network meeting.
And just to say that, in terms of the consistency in numbers, it's really been good to see the regularity of colleagues returning to RE network. And I think, it's about continuing to try and encourage other colleagues, particularly obviously we have a much greater number of primary schools within Bracknell Forest and secondary. So it's just trying to get a few more of them there. We've had quite a lot of changeover in RE network leaders. And I think that for us, that's really important for us to recognise a number of colleagues who are new to leading RE and are grappling with some of the key key pillars of knowledge and actually looking at what their syllabus is delivering within school and what the curriculum and how it is progressive and sequenced. So I think there's going to be some continued work from Anne in terms of maybe replicating some of the work that we've done previously, just to ensure that colleagues feel much more secure in that knowledge. And I think assessment in particular was one that came up, wasn't it, Anne, in the last discussion we had?
Yes, and of course the fact that we had several new RE leaders did mean that the discussions about the proposed changes to the syllabus compared to the current syllabus were not as fruitful as they might have been, because many teachers actually didn't know the current syllabus. So that's the context in which we are working on this syllabus review.
Nahid, you're muted.
Oh yes, sorry. My question wasn't related to anything presented, but I see on my diary that there are 3 segments of this meeting booked. Do we change over to different, or we just continue?
I think we continue.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then at 7, I have to leave because there's another meeting starting.
At
totally
7.
Different.
At 7, yeah. I think we all will leave at 7, Nahid.
Okay, thank you.
I think we've lost somebody actually. Dolapo said she was going at 6.
Okay,
so
thank you.
Thank you, Nahid, for clarifying that for us.
Actually, can I check? Have we lost Jill as well?
Jill.
Oh no, you're there. Sorry, I just couldn't see you. Just checking, because otherwise
she's muted.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just otherwise we won't call it. That's the only reason. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine, Jill. No worries.
So national RE developments reporting. Do you want to do this here, Anne, or is it?
No. This is very quick. I am actually going to share screen because this will answer Nahid's question about how you get the accreditation. Because one of the core national updates in RE is that a new web page has been launched, or website has been launched, called RE Hubs. And RE Hubs is where you can register to undergo training for being a speaker and getting the kite mark. And you can register, and I have already registered our local teacher support group, our support group meetings. If you head up a place of worship, you can register your place of worship for training. And if you are a school speaker, although the humanists do not need to do this because the accreditation carries over, but otherwise, if you want to be able to go into schools and speak to schools, you can sign up to do the training on this website. It's called RE Hubs. So it's re-hubs.uk. And that will get you into this website where you can find out about what is going on in RE across the country. So this is a nationwide development. So you can find out about your local hubs. You can look up other courses. You can find local groups. You can find places of interest and school speakers. So this is useful for teachers and for SACREs. There's specialist support for ITT and ECTs, and there's news and blogs, and you can get involved. So this is a really useful place. So if anybody wants to register their place of worship, that's the place to do it. I will make sure Lizzie has the link so that goes in the minutes. So that's the key update, really. Nationally, there are other things going on in the world of RE, but none of them are directly related to SACRE at the moment. The key thing is to remember that there is SACRE training where you kind of keep in touch with all of the updates and to read the SACRE briefings when they come out. So, you know, do keep yourselves informed by reading the information that comes out.
Claire.
Just a quick one. It's kind of nationally, but also locally. So Reading have decided to no longer run the RE PGCE. So it is reducing all of its PGCEs at the moment. So last year the decision was drama. So if you want to be a drama teacher, you now have to do an English PGCE. Then they're doing a hiatus for like music. They're not running next year, computer science, but they made the decision to not just pause it for a year, to not run it ever. And the day after they announced this, there was announced that there is now a 10 grand bursary if you want to do an RE teacher training. So I'll let you make your mind up about how they probably feel about that. But they are not going back on their decision. They are standing firm in their decision, which is obviously very frustrating for our local area. But I think that's an important thing to bear in mind when we're looking at schools and teachers and staffing and things like that.
Thank you. Useful information.
Well made, Claire.
Yeah, well made. Was there anybody else that wants to ask Anne questions on that particular point? I think we're all eager to get to the syllabus review, Anne. Any other business?
Is it possible for me just to raise something?
Of course, Tracy, raise it.
Thank you, Vicky. Can I just say thank you to colleagues that have responded to me in terms of the SACRE artefacts that we have. For those of you that are unaware, SACRE own a wealth of artefacts that are currently in storage at the Open Learning Centre in Bracknell Forest. Anne has very kindly utilize some of those artifacts to demonstrate how they might be used, you know, really well within RE lessons. And quite a number of the RE leads really enjoyed that opportunity to access them and to think about how they might be able to use them. I know that colleagues here recognise the value of that ability to actually see, touch and understand in relation to, you know, sort of the real understanding that we want young people to have. Unfortunately, in terms of our capacity to access those boxes, we can only access them on Saturdays because of where with the OLC and them having space currently to enable us to open all the boxes and be able to do the work that we can do. So the dates that I've issued, unfortunately, so far we've had limited take up of that, mainly because obviously the dates, I'm sure, are dates that people have got in their diaries for other things at this moment in time. I think at this moment, it would be sensible for us not to move this forward, but it would be something that I would like to raise, Vicky, again, maybe with yourself and the Vice and other colleagues as well, to look at how we can best move this forward. We have got RE leaders really keen to access these resources, but there's some work to be done by colleagues within SACRE before that can actually happen. But we need to look, at possible solutions that work for SACRE members to enable it to happen. So I just wanted to raise that. I think it's at this time, we won't move forward with it, but it's something that we need to discuss.
Okay, thank you. We will put that on another agenda and have a chat, perhaps, Tracy, before the next meeting. But you gave some dates. Does that mean that nobody came back to you?
We had a couple of colleagues, and I'd like to say thank you to colleagues that did. I know Tricia came back to me. I also know, I'm just looking around, Kathy, you also came back this evening as well. So thank you for doing that. I think, as Tricia pointed out, time is tight, and other people's commitments that they might have within that. Unfortunately, because we're held by the OLC's dates that they can give us to access, it's really quite difficult. I'm more than happy to have that conversation again with the OLC about dates that they will give us a space, because it is about getting all of those boxes out. They are in storage. There are quite a number, and as Anne knows, they are quite big. And myself and Anne have moved them in and out of cars, haven't we, Anne, on a number of occasions. So it's just about looking at other possible solutions and how colleagues that are around the screen would like to contribute to that to enable it to happen, really. But I just know that there are RE leaders who are keen to access. We just need to look at a solution about how that might happen.
Okay, Tracy, thank you. So I've got Tim, Dilip and Kathy, all of whom with our hands up. So can we go in that order, please? Tim, Dilip and Kathy.
Yeah, so just to say, I haven't seen them, Tracy, but if a solution is to have them at a different school, which is open more than the OLC, then I'm very happy find a cupboard or something and work with my reception team to welcome people to come and visit to come and see them, or
you'd need more than a cupboard, Tim.
All right, okay. Well, I've got some quite big cupboards, so I'm happy to consider that, genuinely. But if that is the only barrier, then
thank you. That's worth a further conversation.
Yeah, genuinely, yeah, fine.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Dilip.
Thanks, Tim.
Dilip, you're muted. You need to.
That's better. Yes, there you go. Sorry. I can't find an email from you, Tracy, that shows what the next set of proposed dates are.
I can confirm I received it. So
I think it might have actually come from me. I forwarded it on Tracy's behalf.
Oh, is it? Okay.
If that makes any difference.
Well, no, it doesn't. None of you are blocked, I promise you. But if you could, please forward it to me again. That'd be really useful.
Can you do that, Lizzie, please?
Yep, I'll do that now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lizzie.
And sorry, was it Kathy? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, many years ago, the SACRE spent a lot of money getting some very nice cabinets to put all of these artifacts in. And the fact that they're hidden away in boxes is really sad.
The cabinets are still there.
Right.
We still have the cabinets.
And the cabinets still currently do have artifacts within them. The problem we do have is the capacity of the OLC now is such that those rooms are being used. And I know head teachers and other teachers around the screen will know that the OLC is heavily booked nowadays. We've returned to quite a lot of pre-pandemic sort of business within the OLC. So those rooms are now needed. And I know it was raised at previous SACRE meetings, but we need to, that is something for SACRE colleagues to consider. One, what they would like to do with the actual really beautiful glass cabinets that you are referring to, Kathy, but also how we work to enable colleagues to access those resources. Obviously, as we've said, we need to look at those resources to ensure that they are still appropriate, that there are no breakages. Obviously, in terms of being able to replace things, that's something for maybe discussions with communities, looking at other solutions at how that might be achieved. But, you know, at this moment in time, they are all still there. The OLC are very happy to help us with bookings, etc. But what they are saying is they do actually need the space. They are looking at that space and how it needs to be used.
So Abby,
maybe we should be looking at alternatives.
Yes,
where
alternative
it can
venues.
be. Yeah.
And Abby's just said, can we arrange some dates after Christmas? I think that's the plan, Abby. So we will talk about that. It sounds like a new venue. I mean, Tim, it might be worth actually exploring your offer and see what is available in your school.
Yeah, genuinely, and it's in Bracknell. It's open early in the morning, so teachers can collect if it's just a day's loan or, you know, a longer period, and anybody can have access at any time. You know, even in the holidays, actually, because apart from Christmas, the school is open every holiday as well. So there's just two weeks a year where you wouldn't have access, but that could be arranged as well. You know, nothing's insurmountable, and many of our doors, certainly to external cupboards, have electronic locks, so people can have their own key as well. So once you're into the school, you can just zap something and get access. So anyway, all things are possible.
So maybe, Tracy, if you and I get together about the space that is needed, and might perhaps pay Bracknell a visit and see what's being offered.
I think, Vicky, that would be fantastic. I think, Anne, it would be a really good opportunity for you if you're part of that discussion, and because obviously Anne knows more about those resources. But I can arrange for us to go down to the OLC, look at what we're talking about, and also have that conversation with you, Tim. As I say, the actual artifacts are SACREs. So where you choose to put them, etc., is of your choice. As I say, I think my understanding, Anne, if I'm correct, they used to live over East Hampstead Park.
Yep.
When the education and learning team used to live there, and when things changed, they were put obviously in the really nice display cabinets over at the OLC, and as time has moved on, I think some of those have had to be put away, and changes have happened as we've gone through the years. So an opportunity to rethink it and how we might be able to provide that access, I think, is a really good solution really for us.
There's a few unused rooms at Times Square, aren't there?
Can I just add something as well, guys? So just a question for Tracy and Anne. So have these artifacts, any of the artifacts, been used in the last few years then, or have they just been packed up and just stored?
As far as I'm aware, no, they haven't, and the issue has been, and that's why myself and Anne have been quite proactive about this, haven't we, Anne? Talking about it in terms of talking to schools about them. So, you know, if we've got schools that are interested, and that's our piece of work that we can do, we can be doing that, you know, that publicising. We could be talking about how valuable it is to the learning experience for young people. So we can do that piece. But up until now, they have very much. I don't know how long, Anne, they've been in boxes. I don't know if anyone else around the screen could advise on that.
Since the East Hampstead Park closed and the boxes were moved to the OLC.
That's disappointing. Can
we were told we couldn't have access to them.
Okay,
so
can we move on to the syllabus review, just because we've only got 40 minutes and we've got elections to do? Is that okay?
I think just one final comment. When they were purchased originally, were they paid for by the LA, or were they donated by different kind of
They
thing?
were bought by SACRE funds. They belong to SACRE, not the LA.
And then I think to add on to that, I think the Sikh faith artifacts, some of them are not actually Sikh artifacts. So
yeah, this is why we need to get everybody together to get this sorted. Yeah.
And I think we've revisited this before, but so that's just one point out. But yeah. We probably need to look at either donations or purchasing some new items.
Okay,
thank you.
That's helpful, thank you. So the date of the future meeting is the 14th of March. Please put that in your diaries at 5 o'clock. I don't think then being no other business, that we need to, we can now close this meeting and move on to the next meeting, which is the agreed syllabus. I don't know what happens here. Does Lizzie take over with the appointment of chair and vice chair?
Yep. So we start as if totally afresh. So if we convene the agreed syllabus conference, do we have any nominations for chair for, I guess, the year?
So could I just ask a question? Can I do both roles?
You can do.
Yep,
Fine.
it can be the same person. It can be a different person. It's entirely up to SACRE to decide.
Can I nominate Vicky then as chair of the agreed syllabus?
You can. Is that seconded?
Oh, I can second.
Great. Thank you. Are there any other nominations?
Has Gareth left him? I would nominate Gareth if that was supported.
I think he's dropped out.
Yeah, I think he will be back in a minute. It's just his internet is clearly playing havoc.
He's in Spain, isn't he?
He's abroad somewhere, yeah. Okay, yes. Is that seconded?
So Ron has said he would second Gareth as vice.
Would anyone second?
Gareth is
Councillor
back.
Barnard. Councillor Barnard, you've been proposed as chair. Would anyone second that nomination?
The problem I've got is that for the purposes of this meeting, the signal keeps ducking in and out. So it would be a real, I mean, you know, for the rest of what needs doing, happy to, but for this meeting, I'm really sorry I can't do it because I think I just keep dropping in and out. I'm really sorry. I'd like to do it, but I've got real Wi-Fi problems at the moment.
No problem. So at the moment, there isn't a seconder for Gareth as chair of the ASC. This is fine. Is there any other nominations for chair?
I mean, Claire, would you like to do it? I mean, because you've got that sort of knowledge and experience. I mean, I'd be happy to propose you for that.
I'd happy to support, but I don't think I'd like to chair.
Gareth, I think you missed out. We have nominated Vicky as chair.
Well, I'm more than happy to second Vicky.
Yeah.
Okay, there being no other nominations, that makes Vicky the chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
Sounds like Claire. I nominate Claire.
And Ron nominated Gareth as vice chair. Or seconded, sorry.
Is someone proposing Gareth as vice chair? It looks like then that's Claire for vice chair, unless there are any other nominations. Nope, that's Vicky and Claire then. Thank you. Back over to you then, Vicky.
Apologies, I'm going to have to give my apologies. This keeps ducking in and out. My internet is very unstable. I'm sorry about that. I'll catch up at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Gareth. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Lizzie, in the chat, you've got, I think, Dilip nominated Gareth.
So I didn't see that, yeah.
I didn't notice that.
It's a difficult one if Gareth has not got internet connection and we need to sort of proceed. If you're happy with me as chair, then I'm happy to proceed and to conduct the meeting.
There wasn't a seconder for Gareth as chair, so I think that's not.
In any case, he stood down. He said, "I cannot do it because I cannot make the rest of this meeting."
Yeah,
I think
so
go
he
ahead.
stood down.
Thank you. So if everybody's happy, I'll continue. Yeah. So really, Anne, it's over to you, I think, in terms of what you would need from us with regard to the agreed syllabus, and we've all received it, or in its current form. Anne, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yep, I'm just finding my correct piece of paper because I had it earlier and then I went and closed my book, which was foolish of me. Yeah, when This was sent round before sort of quite a while ago now in an initial form, I think before the end of the summer. We have had some feedback during which I have made some changes to the questions. I have a feeling that there will be further changes. What I have not had, actually, and this is quite interesting, I have not had feedback from any groups other than members of Christian organizations. Apart from one SACRE, one of the Jewish reps has given me some feedback. So, and that's quite ironic, really, because as a Christian, I am more confident of what I'm doing in Christianity anyway. So it would be really helpful to have feedback on the questions and on the format. I think I would like to have an open discussion with people about, for the next 20 minutes, I would really like to hear what people would like to see in a SACRE, in a syllabus. Because, it isn't just for the RE advisor to write. And obviously I'm in discussion with the other SACREs. So just for anybody who is new, this is a syllabus that we produce in partnership with the other 5 Berkshire SACREs. So that is Slough, Windsor and Maidenhead, Wokingham, Reading and West Berkshire. So the proposals that we have at the moment are a sort of an amalgam of suggestions that I've had from those places, as well as from most Christians. There are 1 or 2 exceptions. Claire has given me some feedback. But so I've had feedback from a couple of teachers, lots of members of Christian organizations, mostly, interestingly, Group A Christians rather than Group B Christians. Not that that's a major issue. So we really need to hear back from other people. So has everybody had a chance to have a look at what is being proposed, and what do we think of it? Is it right?
And you've got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Or 3 actually, by the looks of things. So
yeah.
Are you happy to take those questions
of course.
now?
Yeah.
So Claire, Tricia, and then Ryan, please.
Certainly.
I just wanted to give, for everyone else, Anne's already heard this, kind of my perspective on it. So I was able to see this before, well, I received it before summer and then saw it when I returned from maternity leave. And so for me, the big piece of work that I would like to see is the Key Stage 4, Key Stage 5. So because we are an option subject, it's kind of what can I provide for those students who haven't chosen it as a GCSE, but are still going to do that compulsory hours. So some guidance there. And then also the Key Stage 5, which I mentioned earlier, that we are meant to do 15 hours. And so what is in that time as well. So from my perspective, that's the 2 things that, we would support on and gathering together. But those were the 2 big things for me.
Tricia.
Thanks. Yes. My concern is the huge major Christian bit, as distinct from what seem to be quite minor focus on all the other religions. So I'd really like to see more from every other religion. but that means that we have to reach out to them because clearly they're not very well represented here. And I don't know what else we should be doing in order to gather information and guidance from them, because they know best what they want taught about the different religions.
May I just jump in a little bit there, Tricia? Because actually there is a legal requirement that Christianity is the main religion taught.
Yes.
Yes,
I absolutely get that, but the others are so minor that I think
it probably looks more minor because what I've put is I have put 6 distinct questions for Christianity, and then at the moment I've got 3 questions which people would do for Judaism, for Islam, for Hindu Dharma, and for SACRE. So it isn't that those 3 questions would only get dealt with once. If we look at Key Stage 1, I will share screen and just clarify what I mean.
Yeah.
If we look at Key Stage 1, for example, so there are 6 questions on Christianity, which would be taught over 2 years. So 3 questions per year group. There are then, in addition, 3 questions for the other religion in each year group. So each year group would actually be half and half. So you would ask in, let's say, year 1, those 3 questions or variations of them for Judaism. You would ask those 3 questions in year 2 or variations of them on Hindu Dharma. You would ask those 3 questions or variations of them in year 3 on Islam. So it isn't as minor as it looks. It's just the way I have set it out at the moment. So it would lead to there being a 50-50 curriculum in each year group. So that may not be clear in the way this is set out.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah. So I just thought I would clarify that is the intention, is that it would be a very balanced syllabus offering schools a choice of three units of Christianity and 3 units of something else for each year group. And additional units, additional material, additional questions can be written. This is what I need to hear from SACRE about what else we need to put into this syllabus. But I take the point that I just thought I would clarify, because it shouldn't be quite as lightweight as it is intended to be lightweight.
It's the lack of detail, I think, with the other religions which you want help with, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Can we move on to the questions? And I'm sure these things will add points of clarification. So Ryan, and then Dilip, and then Nahid.
Thank you, Vicky. And I just wanted to just say I think it's a really strong syllabus that makes links both between and within diversity within religions, and at every stage, especially as it progresses towards Key Stage 4, the later key stages, the links to bigger moral, ethical questions and how they relate to individual faiths as well. I suppose my question was in the putting together of this syllabus review, how it works within kind of exam board choice, qualification choice. Like, is it designed to be a kind of catch-all that can fit in with different qualification choices that schools might make?
Yeah.
Has it drawn on any particular one?
No, it hasn't, because across the 6 local authorities, what usually happens in a syllabus is that it will previous syllabuses and all the other syllabuses I've seen around the country recommend in Key Stage 4 that children follow an externally accredited course. So as a general rule, no content is suggested for Key Stage 4.
So schools are free to choose their exam board. And that's why there is usually some degree of choice in the religions that are taught at Key Stage 3, in order to sort of give schools the best chance to set up. But if the RE is taught well, it should prepare children for future learning in whichever religion they're going to encounter. So that's the usual thing. What Claire is requesting is some content for core Key Stage 4, which of course is where we may need to look at exam boards to draw on comparable material. That might be a way forward with Key Stage 4. Does that make sense, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Dilip?
Yeah, hi. Anne, is this syllabus identical to what's going out in West Berkshire?
Yes, should be.
Okay, it's just that saves me having to run. So I've responded to the West Berkshire submission, and I've given my thoughts on that as well. So if that's the same, I will dig out the submission that I made to them as well. But the only real comment I had was that I felt that there wasn't a decent spread, if you like, of Hinduism across the 3 key stages. That was my feeling, because the difficulty being you teach it and then you leave it, and then it gets forgotten. So I was just thinking if there is some sort of longer life to it, that would be really good. So that was it. I did make individual comments to some of the questions as well. But let me retrieve that document and then I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you. It may be that David sent it to me and that I have not yet incorporated that, or maybe I have just forgotten that I have read those comments.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting question as to which religions we teach in which key stages, and how do we cover the breadth whilst revisiting. There isn't a simple answer to that. Every syllabus struggles with this. Nahid.
Sorry, I was just going to say.
Dilip.
No, sorry, just a follow-up comment was it is difficult. I did preface my comments to David with maybe this is being very parochial, but I guess you want to focus on one part of it. This is why you have a team of people here and you ask them to comment. But that's
just as an observation, Dilip, I think what Anne would value, and I don't know, wish to speak for her, is your views on what key concepts you think to be religiously educated in Hinduism, bearing in mind that many people are westernized in their view of religion. What are the key things that you would say that we should that should be taught at those stages? Is that right, Anne? Is that the
I mean, we have had some of these conversations, but also to comment on the questions that I have suggested, and to suggest content that fits. So if you think back to what I showed on Key Stage 1 for the Christianity units, I had fleshed out what the possible content might be. Actually, because this is what teachers want. Teachers want detail. Teachers want to know what they need to teach. So where I've come up with questions that could be asked on Judaism or Islam or Hindu Dharma or SACRE, it would be really helpful to have a comment on whether that's the right question. Those are the right questions to be asking. And if they're not the right questions, a suggestion of what is a better question, along with some suggested content, so that we can then build something that will enable schools to build their own coherent curriculum from this baseline syllabus. So
I will review that. When I review it again, I'll review that with that in mind.
Thank you. What I'll do is I will make sure that the very latest version comes out to all of you with the minutes, because I've been tinkering. Of course I have, since I sent it to Lizzie.
Naheed?
Okay, my question was, as I am new to SACRE, and if we want to ask other people to help and fill up the vacancy for a Muslim post as well, is there a brief what sort of person will be suitable candidate to come and fill up these vacancies? Do they have to have a certain background in education, or you know, what sort of person will be suitable for this post?
May I answer that, Vicky?
Of course, yes.
Thank you. I would say the main role of someone representing their faith is that they need to be in good standing with their community. So if you know a Muslim representative on Bracknell Forest SACRE ideally would be in good standing with the Muslim community in Bracknell Forest. It is then helpful if they are relatively knowledgeable, not talking degree level, but relatively knowledgeable about their own faith, and with an understanding of the current climate in education. They do not need to have a background in education, but they need to have some understanding of what is required of schools, and ultimately they need to be prepared to turn up to at least 3 meetings a year between the hours of 5 and 7 at the moment online, and take an active part. So that's what I would see as being the key qualities, the key qualifications that a person needs.
Thank you for that. And
does that make sense, Naheed? Yeah,
it does. It just clears a few things in my mind. And yeah, thank you. I have to leave now because I have to make a call before the next meeting. So thank you very much for having me. Bye.
Vicky,
yes.
I apologize. Some power that be has removed the raise hand from my Zoom. I've been searching everywhere for it. So
Don't
I'm going
worry.
to...
You have the floor, Alan.
Thank you very much. So just on the overview of the feeding of it, of course, from my point of view, people who profess no faith are now more than 50% in the UK. And the people with all of the other faiths are about 10%. And Christianity is about 40%, as far as I know, on the recent surveys of the population. So I'm just wondering, is it appropriate to have something about humanism as a representative for those who don't believe in supernatural things at Key Stage 1? I'm not quite sure what you want to say, because I have to be very careful when I do assemblies and things with Key Stage 1, that they still believe in Father Christmas and the Tooth Fairy and things, and I don't want to upset that.
Yeah. My vision, Alan, would be that there would be a teaching and a recognition of non-religious worldviews, more generically than humanism, I think, in Key Stage 1. But that would fit alongside. And yeah, I mean, it may be that it might be a suggestion that we have one specific question that is included in the syllabus at each key stage that has a specific non-religious focus. I would also hope that some of the sections called philosophy would enable teachers to bring in the broader range of traditions, including humanism, other non-religious worldviews, Baha'i, other information as required. But I do take, it is really hard. I do not know how, when we think that schools have about an hour a week to deliver RE, and that what we need to give them is something coherent that takes them on a journey, actually covering all the tradition. It's like trying to do a jigsaw puzzle where the outside of the puzzle is a 6x6 puzzle, but you've got 4,000 pieces.
One simple approach would be the set of questions where you say, what does X believe about God and what symbols? If the X could include more than those four major non-Christian religions, but also include a non-religious worldview, and I think you'll find it hard to find one other than humanism. But anyway, if we were added to that list,
it's hard to find a codified one other than humanism. Yes, that I will give you. Yeah.
So just put humanism alongside that list, and then I'll shut up for a bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but this is the question, because what I was proposing, and so far, you know, I was talking about alternating an Abrahamic and Adamic. If we want to alternate an Abrahamic and Adamic and have a non-religious worldview question once per phase, I think we could probably do that. Maybe replace one of the Christian units. This is the sort of thing that is actually really helpful feedback. You know, if we cut it down to 5 Christianity units over 2 years, 3 units for each of the others, and per phase one unit that focused on a non-religious worldview, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I wonder, Anne, I mean, it's really good religious education teaching, isn't it? Is that you would expect that during the course of a lesson on, say, beliefs about God, that there would be an inclusive opportunity for children who do not believe to say what they think. So it's almost about codifying it and giving teachers permission to ask that question, so they don't feel that it's not religious to say, actually, I don't believe, and why I don't believe.
Yeah.
So it's about finding a question that allows access to that conversation.
Yeah.
That would be my observation.
Yeah, and that's where we need the expertise of people with a range of worldviews to sort of suggest alternative questions. So yeah, so I mean, if you would like, Alan, to think of, you could probably talk to Anthony in RBWM, because I think Bracknell Forest and RBWM are the only 2 SACREs where the humanists are actually in Group A, and therefore, you know,
I think there's one in West Berkshire, Clare, Wiltshire.
Yeah. Oh, fine. Yeah. Oh, of course. Yes. Yeah. So maybe the 3 of you could have a think about what would make a good Key Stage 1 question, what would make a good lower Key Stage 2 question. Maybe we can build something in.
Thank you. I will do it.
No, that would be really helpful, because I find it really hard to phrase those questions, because I tend to come at it from a religious point of view, and it doesn't work. I've tried and it doesn't work.
If it helps what I do when I'm talking in schools, I often say, many people think that the world was created by a God, and I say, and that's okay. And then I say, and many other people think that it happened naturally, and that's okay too.
Yeah, and to be fair, when I would be teaching the Christian view of creation, I would do exactly the same thing. So you know, so yeah, that is part and parcel of it. So thank you, Alan. That would be helpful.
So what else do you want from us, Anne?
Yeah,
Chair, I think you had a...
Was there a hand up? I missed that.
Yes, it's my hands. So I think 2 points, actually. So I think looking through that document, I think my concern as a SACRE representative is that it says with a dynamic case, it's one or the other. So, and I think
over in a year group, but both to be taught by the end of Key Stage 2.
Okay. So it would be taught. So, but
yeah. Both, yes, they would do Hindu Dharma and Sikh Dharma, and they would revisit one of those. So do one of those a second time, or possibly we could rephrase it and they do both of those a second time together. Yeah, but yeah, no, they are. My aim is that they are both to be covered.
Because my concern was, I think, 2 things. One is that often Sikhs are seen as an extension of Hinduism. So the kind of nearest example is Diwali. Sikhs and Hindus celebrate for different reasons. It's on the same day, and most people don't have an understanding of that unless you're a Sikh or Hindu. and often, so that's one point to kind of raise as well. And then the other thing was probably a question for Anne, I think, are all the kind of different faiths across Pan Berkshire getting together? Because this my SACRE representative kind of counterparts, we had got together and fleshed out exactly what you were looking at, but there's been a disconnect. So I probably
I have never received the notes that Ashpreet, if Ashpreet took any notes in your meeting, I have never
had a lot of notes. Yeah,
I have never received them. They have never been sent to me. But from my point of view, if the individual religious groups wish to get together, then please do so. I haven't got the capacity or the time to organise Baha'is getting together and Sikhs getting together.
I'm not asking you to get together. So, I'm asking you to organise.
But so I mean,
could I interject?
Feel free. Yeah.
Are there some notes which need to be sent on to Anne that haven't been done so?
Notes haven't been. We met up, back in April.
Yeah.
And since then, nothing's been forwarded. So we spent several hours kind of going.
Can you do that, Raj?
I'm not getting any response back from the others. I think.
Likewise, I've not had any response from Ashpreet at all, who is on SACRE Hub, and who, if I don't get the answers, I can't include the information.
So it sounds like people have tried to respond, but maybe just haven't communicated with you directly. Why might that be the case? Because if people have made responses, Anne, and you're not getting them.
I have emailed Ashpreet directly and have had no answer from him. I don't know.
Can you use your influence? Can you use your influence, Raj, and try and?
I think I'll get the others to chase up as well, because there's I think 3 of us: Maidenhead, Slough, and myself from Bracknell Forest, and mix up. We did a lot of work. It's been fleshed out. It's actually got a lot of detail there and links for resources. And it's a shame that hasn't been shared.
No. Well, that needs to be done then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got Ossie wanting to speak. You're muted.
Always takes me a moment to find out how to unmute. Last night at the interfaith meeting, a member of the audience raised a very good point, I thought, that when we teach our children about the various religions, we always teach about the differences. This is what Christians do. This is what Jews do. This is what about including something about what unites us, what brings us together, where we can find common ground?
That should be it. That should be implicit in any teaching about religion.
It doesn't feel like that, not from the point of view of a parent or as of a school employee.
Well,
it doesn't
certainly
feel like that.
That's interesting. Sorry, Alan.
When I teach the Golden Rule, I always point out that Muhammad quoted the Golden Rule, and Jesus quoted the Golden Rule, and the Buddha cited the Golden Rule. The Hindu teachings have the Golden Rule, and it's also visible in ancient Egypt about 2500 BC. So I do try to get this commonality
and
of
that
the
is
Golden Rule.
Exactly what I'm referring to. That's exactly the sort of thing I think we need to see more of. And if it's implicit, perhaps it needs to be explicit at some point in the syllabus.
Well, it could be a unifying theme throughout the syllabus.
Thank you, Ossie, for that. That's useful. Was it Trisha had her hand up?
No, I was just giving a thumbs up, actually.
Oh, okay.
I thought that's a very good point. I feel that very much as well, that we don't emphasize that everyone believes in commonality and supporting others and stuff.
I find that really sad, because one of the things I work so hard on when I'm working with teachers all the time is drawing out what it is that is similar. Yes, also what is different, because there are things that are different, but talking all the time about the things that are the same. The the range of religions, all of whom pray. They may pray in different ways, but the fact that they pray, you know, yeah, I know humanists don't, but you know, I was talking about the religious groups. There is prayer. There is prayer in Hinduism, in Judaism, in Christianity, in SACRE. It might be different in all of them, but that is one of the key things that I would always try to draw out. So,
But
yeah,
all the-
I mean, I totally agree, Ossie. It should be in there.
All the lessons are themed according to a religion. All the topics are themed according to a religion. Let us study something on Hinduism. Let us study something. And I just think that there must be something that should explicitly say, as part of RE, what our commonalities are. Perhaps it comes into citizenship, perhaps it comes into philosophy, but as I think it was Claire said, the boundaries are getting blurred at times.
Anna, would you like to say something? I'm just conscious that we've got 3 minutes left before 7 o'clock. So, Anna, you're muted. Anna, you're muted.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Ossie's saying. I understand, but I would also say, Anne, absolutely, I agree. I think we may not get it right in schools all the time, and I would say when we don't, it's more to do with not being confident in our subject knowledge in all the different faiths, which is a very difficult thing, certainly in a primary school where we're polymaths, to be confident in. And I think there's also a fear of making incorrect comparisons and disrespectful comparisons as well. But I would say that in my understanding of the RE curriculum and syllabus, there are broad-reaching questions that the children are set to explore that are not religion specific. And I certainly, only because I'm probably more familiar with them, would make connections between the key figures of the Abrahamic faith. And I certainly do that even in my collective worship, where it's appropriate to draw those connections and make it clear that actually there's a lot of shared history, a lot of shared understanding between those faiths. And I would definitely confidently do that as part of our work in schools. I don't know what Ruth feels, but I think where we don't do it so well is where potentially we aren't as well informed, and it's a confidence thing and not wanting to get it wrong as well and be disrespectful. So I think that can be a bit of a barrier, certainly for many teachers who possibly don't have great strength in all areas of RE.
Which is why we need to put some content to the big questions that we've got, because then we can draw out the commonalities. You know, because at the moment I have proposed slightly faith specific questions, because and this question was asked back when we first started this, and feedback, you know, people were asked for their feedback, and the feedback I got from most people was that actually faith specific questions helped children to learn the facts, and that when they had the facts, we could then work on the comparisons and the similarities and the differences later on. So there are different ways of looking at this, but yeah, I mean, you know, feel free to make some written suggestions as to how these questions could be changed. And it, you know, if we don't want faith specific questions, yeah, I mean, I haven't had that feedback in writing yet from anybody, so because there is otherwise a danger that we put a very Western question, a very Western sort of Christian version question onto an Abrahamic, onto Adamic faith, if we have, you know, and so there is a balance to be struck between having you know, relevant questions for the faith whilst allowing those similarities to come out, and that's the skill that, you know, that I'm seeking from the experts on the other religions.
Claire.
Just really quickly, Anne made this point about when we said about the network. I think it's very important to know the difference between the syllabus and a curriculum. And I think this syllabus is guidance, and then it's down to teachers to turn that into their curriculum and to weave it. And that's where, like, this is the content, and then it's down to teachers to figure out, okay, so I'm going to do a topic on this. I'm going to do it thematically. I'm going to do it as per religion. And I think that's where we get our golden threads throughout faith. There's a woman once called it on an RE training was the golden threads throughout faith, and that's what we're trying to find. And worldviews is what is the golden thread that brings it all together. And I think that's where our curriculum versus syllabus comes in.
So has anybody else that had anything burning to say? Kathy, quickly, please.
Just briefly, I mean, from a Baha'i perspective, we often teach about virtues, which are denominational. So each faith, and the humanists talk about kindness and generosity and truthfulness, those kind of virtues which are common to all. Yeah.
Thank you. That's helpful. And it's 7 o'clock, 2 minutes past. Actually, I'm just conscious that we've kept people here to speak. Going forward, is this going to be the pattern of SACRE meetings from now onwards? Are we going to have the business beforehand and then a discussion on the syllabus?
I mean, I don't know. Lizzie may correct me on this. We could choose to do it the other way around if we wanted. I don't see why we shouldn't. What I will do is I will wait to hear from all the SACREs that have been meeting in the last couple of weeks. I will put all of the thinking into a revised. So I don't know what draft I'm on at the moment, but probably draft 5 syllabus, and try and get that out to people before Christmas. I say, deep breath. I'll try.
So at March meeting, and then we could start with a discussion on the syllabus.
Yeah, as far as I can't see a reason why we couldn't choose to do it that way round if we preferred.
Because I think what this has done, which has been very useful, is it's flagged up what the syllabus is for and what you've done so far. And you've done amazing work in just getting us to think about these things. But it also has got people from different worldviews thinking about what the key concepts in the core might be and what questions might be appropriate. And hopefully you'll get some feedback from that. And then we'll be able to see a revised version incorporating everybody's views. Sounds like there's been some discussions which haven't been fed back to you. It's really important that gets to you. So is anybody else, Anne, do you want to sort of conclude this bit for us? Are you happy with where we are at the moment?
Yeah, no, I'm very happy. There have been some really helpful comments and I have written them all down. And some of those are around actually making it clear that all of those faiths are taught, and some of those are about how it's presented. Obviously this is nowhere near what it will look like when it's finished, so but how we present it is obviously also important. So I've written down copious notes, and I know Lizzie will have as well, so I will action all of that in the next couple of weeks.
Well, thank you, Anne, for all the work you're doing on this.
I had a comment to make, Vicky, if that's okay.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I was going to say,
quickly, please. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to be as quick as I can, if that's okay. So I think I was going to say, as a SACRE representative, I'm here to support any teachers that want guidance. So I think look back at what you've taught before. I think Anna saying that people are reluctant to teach something where they make a mistake and misrepresent. I think we are here to guide you and also provide you with resources. I'm happy to kind of accompany people to my place of worship to kind of give you an insight in how it works and provide you links to other people that can speak to you as well. People that come to talk, I'm happy to come in as well. So I think for me, I would want my religion represented in the correct way, rather than people to be kind of afraid of not teaching things. And to have me there as mentor, I think I'm sure the other people here, that's one of our roles as kind of SACRE representatives, to actually assist you and mentor you if required, and to actually facilitate improved learning in teaching of our religions. So I hope that's brief enough. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I would just say that as a teacher, I would have found that extremely useful, and I'm sure that you'll be taken up on that. Anybody else want to say anything before we end the meeting? Oh, well, thank you all for your attendance. It's been a marathon, but I hope it's been worthwhile for everybody that's come. And I'll look forward to seeing you on the, is it 14th of March? Yeah. All right. Thank you and good night, everybody.